Update! And it's been another week. You know, I've noticed that I've been moving further and further back, and I think, I used to vlog like right here. I used to be here for the updates, taking up most of your field of vision, and I thought I would go back to scaring you. I mean, I thought we would get closer once again. This coming week, we're gonna have a lot going on. We have a read-through of scripts 6 and 7 for Monday night. Maybe we'll have some footage of that next week, as well as on Wednesday we start holding auditions for some of the additional cast that we need for episodes 6 and 7. Some people asked if I would post a link to our auditions notice. However, I want you to know that some of you may consider information on the auditions notice spoilers, but in the doobly-doo, there is a link to our Craigslist posting. We also posted it on Actors Access, Explore Talent, and then I have to go through all of the submissions, try and find people who I think would work for the part physically, and then I have to go through the script and get production sides ready. We've got Patsy, we've got Precious. You know, these are just script pages that people will read off of for the auditions. Victim Girl. So you have to manufacture all of these. That takes time. And then contact people with their audition slot, as well as renting a space, which we have done. I've procured a space for us to audition people on Wednesday. So that's what's going on this week. Lots coming down the pipeline. Nothing much new this week though. Some people thought we didn't talk a whole lot about the process of writing in last week's update, and that's fair enough. That's true because it was already like 7 minutes long or something like that. But I was looking at the footage that Chris and I shot last week, and we sat here for like a half hour last time talking about all sorts of stuff. So there's a link right here if you're interested to a video. It's just uncut of me and Chris kind of talking about our writing process. It's us kind of discussing what it was like for him as an outsider to write for PoPS, and me for the first time to have somebody else write for it. And that's like 6 minutes long, so it's right here. There's like maybe a couple hours left on the Indiegogo campaign, and I know Craig is determined to do everything he can for us. It's really kind of outstanding how many people have come out to support us, and we really appreciate it. And I'll say more about that next week when the whole thing is over. But Indiegogo campaign.
Not to worry if they can't spare a lot.
Last week's question. Halloween costumes. Most of the costume ideas had to do with being Doctor Who. Having a TARDIS or a fully functional Dalek costume, which would be rad. Some people were all Serenity and Firefly based, and that's cool too. I would want to have a replica of Serenity myself, even if it had to be towed down the street. I'd still have the 3 switches. I will go back to asking your guys' questions, that much is for sure, but this week's question is because of something I'm curious about. It's the National Write a Novel in a Month, November, right?
NaNoWriMo.
Everyone's going to write a novel this month, and as soon as I'm done with PoPS, I'm totally going to participate in that, because that sounds awesome. And a few of my friends are doing it right now. Muda, stop tripping on sidewalks. Good on you for tackling the NaNoWriMo, though. I started to ask this in another update, and then I stopped. Does it affect your opinion of a book if you can only get it on the Kindle? If there are no printed copies of it, and it's not released through like a traditional publishing house, does that affect whether or not you want to read the book? If they were just releasing it for like the Kindle or the Nook or any of the e-readers, would you still have interest in reading it? Let me know in the comments. I'm very interested in this, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much.